Good evening and welcome to Have I Got News for You? I'm Boris Johnson. In the news this week, as the British team begin their training for the Olympics, the designer of their revolutionary new canoe accepts that bow buoyancy may still be an issue. At the Chartered Accountants' annual conference, opinion is divided as to whether capital allowances may be carried forward if the date of the VAT quarter has already been changed within the current fiscal year. And at the British Conker Championships, there are accusations of steroid abuse. On Ian's team tonight, a Newsnight presenter whose entry in the BBC website reveals she can speak French and crap Mandarin. That's a hell of an act, you have to admit. Please welcome Emily Maitlis. And with Paul Merton tonight is a comedian who says she has never watched anything she's done on television. Neither have I. Watch anything I've done on television, I mean to say. I'm sorry, that did not come out right. Sue Perkins. And we start with round one, Ian and Emily.
Oh, well, this is our great leader. And this is his tennis partner, Lord Levy. Could it be 2 hours of questioning after an anonymous tip-off from a neighbour on Downing Street?
That's right. This chap, Assistant Commissioner Yates, went in, had a cup of tea, came out Lord Yates.
Absolutely right. It's about the cash for peerages.
It's shocking.
It is shocking. It is shocking.
It's certainly not something you lot would do.
I'm not aware that David Cameron.
You're not aware of anything, much.
I think it's a bit early for you to start in on me on this show, Ian. I think it's steady on.
Yeah.
Save it for later.
Yeah. The police wanted to interview Mr. Blair for a very long time, but they chose the same time as Lord Stevens announced his inquiry into Diana.
So what you're suggesting, Ian, is there's something fishy about the timing of the interrogation?
I'm suggesting that this government's very good at burying bad news, so that if the coppers have come round to feel your collar, it helps if Diana's on the telly.
Who wasn't in the room with him?
Lots of people.
Bella Emberg wasn't there.
No, Bella Emberg wasn't there.
Sally Donald wasn't there.
Jordan wasn't there.
Isabel Kingdom-Brunel wasn't there.
Norman Wisdom.
W.C. Fields wasn't there.
All right, so I shouldn't have...
Walt Disney wasn't there.
Yeah, okay, all right. Polly Toynbee wasn't there, I wasn't there, no, none of us...
Lord Goldsmith wasn't there.
No.
That's it. The answer is there was no lawyer in the room, which Downing Street is saying is very good news.
Is it?
Yes.
Well, it means he's not about to be charged.
And Adam Bolton was saying that it was a great step forward. And anyway, that's his point of view, and you know, who
could finish a sentence?
No.
Who could possibly...
Who could finish a sentence?
Who could possibly dissent from whatever Adam Bolton has said? Do you not also think, by the way, that it's a little bit rum that on this very day that Blair is being interrogated for selling peerages,
Yes.
they put out the news about the tornado deal?
It is very, very smelly indeed.
Do a tornado, Boris. Just shake your head around.
No, a tornado is a type of plane.
Oh, thanks for doing that. I wouldn't know what you were talking about if you hadn't done that.
The West London tornado.
Sue was doing an impersonation of a meteorological phenomenon. The point that it is the point at issue...
You were doing an aeronautical phenomenon, which is much more sensible.
And this relates to the huge Al Yamama deal with the Saudis.
Yeah, and the Saudis said... I mean, there's a probe into whether the Saudi deal was corrupt with BAE, and the Saudis said, you've got to stop this. You can't call us, you know, corrupt. You can't suggest we don't behave well, or we'll drop the whole deal and go off and do one with the French. And they've dropped it. Lord Goldsmith, who wasn't there defending the Prime Minister because he's got other things to do, has said it's not in the national interest.
And I think, anyway, and it seems to be the view of the committee that it's very, very odd that on this particular day, two very embarrassing stories have been submerged in the inquiry into the death of the princess.
Into these things.
The death of the princess as well.
Correct. So your conclusion is vote Conservative.
Well, I was going to save that one up.
I think you should get it out now while they're friendly.
All right, thank you. This is the news that the Prime Minister of the United Kingdom of Great Britain and Northern Ireland, the Right Honourable Tony Blair MP, has finally been questioned by the police in the course of the Cash for Honours investigation. Sky News summed up Tony Blair's behaviour in the Cash for Honours scandal by saying it was embarrassing but not illegal. which will make a good slogan for the next election campaign. Vote New Labour. We're embarrassing, but not illegal. Paul and Sue, here is yours.
OK.
The princes.
Yes, this is the man who's investigating the murder of Princess Diana.
There is the man who thinks Prince Philip's responsible.
Yeah, there he is, there's the killer.
Evil, murdering man.
So they've decided to hold this inquest after 10 years and to discover that Princess Diana was murdered by Prince Philip.
Yes.
Almost.
Yeah.
Almost.
Almost wholly wrong.
9 years and £4 million and 900 pages telling us that Diana actually had a car accident, whereas before the £4 million and the 900 pages and the 9 years, we all thought that she'd had a car accident.
Essentially, the only person who believed it wasn't was fired.
Yeah.
And he spent 9 years coming up with this amazing tissue of dribble to explain the fact that one of his drunken employees killed the late Princess of Wales.
But, I mean, it's not as if the royal family haven't had some previous history in this sort of thing. Lady Jane Grey, Princess in the Tower, do you know what I mean?
No, OK, no, we've just dismissed any suggestion that the royal family was involved.
I think Prince Philip killed her.
I think there was one other conclusion in Lord Stevens's report.
Yes, Prince Philip did it.
That was not widely followed up in this morning's papers. Lord Stevens blamed the paparazzi.
Yes,
what happened.
The foreign paparazzi who, when the car crashed, they didn't help her, they just took pictures of her.
They did.
Very nice.
Lord Stevens, would he have got that honour from the royal family?
Welpington.
Kirk Welpington, exactly where I didn't know.
Lord Stevens, would he have got that honour from the royal family?
And what is that? Sue, you
Lord
just...
Stevens, would he have got that honour from the royal family?
I knew I saw a Harrods hamper in your dressing room. He's doing another inquiry, Lord Stevens, into whether bears shit in the woods.
The good news is that the princes are arranging a party Elton John's going to be performing. Now, Prince Harry, what is Prince Harry like?
Deutschland über alles?
Is it really called that?
He's got the outfit.
Selection of marching songs on his iPod.
I don't think there's enough respect for the royal family on this
Songs
programme
to
so
invade
far.
Poland.
I really don't.
How can you respect a band of murderers?
I think Wills and Harry have absolutely no interest in marching songs. They like soul songstress Joss Stone and a chap called Farrell. He's a hip-hop master mixer. And according to the Times...
Your shoulders moved when you said hip-hop.
That's what it meant to do, isn't it?
What, hip-hop?
Yeah. According to the Times, Farrell has been collaborating with Britney Spears, Justin Timberlake and Snoop Dogg.
You know they get you to read these out just to make you sound silly. You know that.
It's a pact of steel, and who cares? I want something positive about the royal family this week. What was the great achievement by the royal family, the positive achievement by the royal family?
Zara.
Thank you.
She won
BBC
Sports Personality of the Year.
Brilliant. And would you like to hear her acceptance?
Yes, please.
Love it.
It's amazing. Thank you to all the voters. And it's just amazing to be here with all these amazing sports people. But to win this is absolutely amazing. And
this is the long-awaited report into the death of Princess Diana. Commenting on the role of the French security services, a spokesman for the Metropolitan
Can I
Police
say
said...
the word seamless comes to mind?
Wonderful.
Beautiful.
Thank you. Commenting on the role of the French security services, a spokesman for the Metropolitan Police said, if we'd been in charge, Diana wouldn't have died. Unless, of course, she'd tried to jump the ticket barrier at a London Underground station. The Diana Memorial Concert is set to take place on July 1st next year at Wembley Stadium and will feature Duran Duran, Brian Ferry and 68 Polish builders desperately trying to finish the roof. The death of Princess Diana was one of those defining moments in history. We all remember where we were when we heard the news. Well, apart from the Bishop of Southwark. And so to round two. And as it's almost Christmas, it's the usual picture spin quiz. Fingers on buzzers.
This is the Bishop of Southwark. And he didn't make it back from a drinks party in one piece. He found himself in a Mercedes throwing toys out of it the other side of Lambeth Bridge. When somebody stopped him and said, "What are you doing?" And he said, "I'm the Bishop of Southwark. That's what I do."
Well, it is what he does, in the sense
spot
that
on.
drinking and talking to make-believe characters is something he'd normally be doing in church.
But
I
Emily
take
was at
some of
this
the
party.
responsibility. I think I was the last person he talked to at that party.
Were you the one
at
that
the Irish
slipped that
Embassy?
stuff into his Alco-Pops?
Rohypnol, was it Rohypnol? Did you give the bishop Rohypnol? Did you?
Did you?
Just say yes, it doesn't matter.
Did you?
Yes.
Yes.
At the start of the conversation.
Emily Maitlis drugged the Bishop of Southwark.
Well, there's a story.
What, was he taking a few drinks?
I couldn't possibly say.
Was he hoisting it away, Emily?
I couldn't possibly say.
Was he knocking it back?
I couldn't possibly say.
What was that?
What did his pitch as a bishop?
Did he have flecks of vomit around his mouth? Was his mitre set at a jaunty angle?
Can anyone remember what Cathedral spokeswoman Wendy Robbins said, according to the Express?
He's always pissed. He should be sacked.
Part of any bishop's role is to be out in the community. So what he has done on this night was nothing unusual. And how has the Dean of Southwark, Colin Slee, defended the bishop?
He said, get on with it. He was a bishop, it's Christmas. And actually, in the Christian spirit, we all make mistakes and we ask repentance and we get on with it.
Irish
Toys
whiskey
out.
features
Yes.
heavily in the New Testament.
The fishes and the Mercedes.
After walking on the water, didn't Jesus say, I'm Jesus Christ, that's what I do?
What Colin Slee said was, I wonder if we're looking at a cerebral phase, a sort of mini stroke. No, Colin Slee, I don't think we are. Where is the Bishop of Southwark a regular?
Spearmint Rhino?
Nope.
Or on the door?
On the pole?
On the pole. He's round it, he works that greased crook, I tell you.
Yeah. Not often you hear that sentence these days.
Description of Lord Archer.
Indeed, yes.
He is a regular on today's Thought for the Day on Radio 4. And I wonder what his Thought for the Day was the following morning.
You're my best friend, you are.
You looking at my bird?
You know what happened to him after he got out of the car?
Yeah, he walked
after he had chucked the... Do you know what happened to him?
Yeah, didn't he walk into a railway arch?
He walked into an arch. And what did he become?
An archbishop.
Archbishop.
This is the Bishop of Southwark. Asked why he was found in the back seat of a stranger's Mercedes throwing children's toys around, he explained, I'm the Bishop of Southwark. It's what I do. He was then struck by a thunderbolt accompanied by a booming voice saying, I'm God. It's what I do. Church critics demanded that the bishop show repentance, and indeed, the next day, a deeply contrite Bishop of Southwark got down on his knees for several hours, talking to God on the big white telephone. Friends say that the Bishop of Southwark has learned from his mistake. Next time he finds himself in a similar situation, he'll say he's the Bishop of Salisbury. Fingers on buzzers, teams.
Well, she's upside down now. I've really sort of made a terrible mistake.
Can't we spin it round? Can we say
Yeah,
something?
No, you buzzed in. You can do it upside down.
All right.
We buzz.
Something to do with France. She's called Louise Clark. She's from Bristol.
Oh, I know what's happened to her. She's suffering from a very rare disease called Suzak syndrome.
Brilliant.
That makes her think she's French.
Absolutely right.
So she goes to the doctor and he says, you're very, very ill, and she goes, whoa.
Absolutely right. Do you know the proper medical term for Suzak syndrome? Retinocochlear cerebral vasculopathy. She rang her friends to invite them to stay with her in Paris, even though she lives in Bristol.
Sounds a perfect idea. I could do that the whole time.
What has she said in English about her condition?
She said, you think it's jolly funny, but it isn't.
Yeah.
Yeah. Louise Clark told reporters, it may sound funny to others, but waking up thinking you're French is a terrifying experience. Yes, and it happens to 60 million French people every morning. Bien, je jamais, as they say. Well, I thought it was quite good. I don't know, never mind that one. I'd like to...
Boris, you've disappeared. You've disappeared, Boris.
No, shush, okay. Shush,
Yes,
shush,
pump quick.
shush.
Pump it up.
This...
Maximum pressure,
I can't.
Silence.
The engines can't take a cut. This Boris Johnson was never meant to be let loose on the humankind.
This This is the English woman who developed a rare neurological condition which caused her to believe she was French. Louise Clark from Bristol described the moment she realised something was badly wrong. I started gabbling away in French, so my sister took me to A&E. Or as she called it, A&E.
I mean, she must have thought she was in France if she thought there was an A&E open.
In this, in Blair's Britain, you know, has a very fair point. Yes, you're right. Why do you write?
The pump!
The rare condition is known as Susac syndrome. Other sufferers include Paris Hilton, who thinks she's a French hotel. Round 3 is the odd one out round. Ian and Emily. The Queen, King Hiero of Syracuse, the Bishop of Southwark, and the BBC Sheffield cleaner, as seen on Newsnight.
The Sheffield cleaner was carrying a tray of mugs on her head.
On her
during
head.
an interview that I did with Caroline Flint.
Do you think we could see a clip of you interviewing Caroline Flint with the cleaner? You've got to watch very carefully with the cleaner because she appears in the top left-hand corner, possibly the top right-hand corner.
People were saying that we wouldn't have a situation today where they would be able to present their accounts. They have presented their accounts. I understand that hasn't reassured their investors, and the banks have agreed to extend credit to them. Yes, they have made some losses. I understand that's through the acquirement of another computer company.
Well, that must mean that this is about headgear, because the bishop fell over and he got such a big bump that he couldn't put his mitre on. I think the Queen had some problem putting her crown on because it didn't fit properly and had to be adjusted. And King Hiero of Syracuse, the gods punished him by he grew ass's ears, so he couldn't actually put his crown on. Isn't that right?
No. No, sorry, I'm sorry, but we're sticklers for accuracy in this kind of thing.
Yeah.
You're very, very... You're right about everything except the ass's ears. Which is, sorry, the bit I really care about.
Yeah.
The thing was that he thought that he was being gypped by his goldsmith, yeah? Who was selling him a crown which had been adulterated with silver, rather than just gold.
Yeah.
And do you know what he did? He got a famous scientist to work out whether or not there was both silver and gold in the crown. Who was it? And how
was it Archimedes?
Yes.
Right. And did he put the crown in the bath and say, "You've been ripped off"?
Sorry, did this happen this week?
Who did you say was your one out?
The cleaner in Sheffield.
Why?
Because she can actually put her hat on and the others couldn't.
Correct. She had absolutely no trouble putting things on her head. And who knows why the Queen's had trouble putting things on her head?
She's grown ass's ears.
It's outrageous. No, it's because she has a bad back and it makes it very difficult to wear the imperial crown.
All the people that lost their Christmas hampers could be replaced if she sold that hat.
Yes.
It'd be a gesture, wouldn't it?
I just think this is
a gesture, wouldn't it,
Do you
Boris?
not think you're developing a seriously sort of Republican streak here?
They murdered the Queen of
crown
Hearts.
jewel, there they are.
They murdered the Queen of Hearts, Boris.
What headwear does the Queen put on in private, according to Prince Harry?
It's a baseball cap with "I killed Diana" written on the front of it. None of this is going to be used.
I sincerely hope that none of this will be used. No, it is a shower cap. It's indeed a shower cap. It has the logo is "Ain't Life a Bitch."
The Queen wears that?
No, which is probably what she thinks after listening to you. They've all had trouble with official headwear except the BBC cleaner seen on Newsnight. King Hiero of Syracuse first became suspicious of the quality of his new crown when he discovered that it came from Argos. It's a very, very high quality joke, that. Paul and Sue, David Williams, a roast potato, Charles Bronson, and John Humphrey's great aunt. Let me give you a clue. It involves Nigella.
Goose Fat.
Goose Fat, yes.
Yes.
Potatoes are in them.
Yeah.
David Williams was in it.
Yeah, probably would get covered in goose fat when you swim, didn't you?
too
You
easy,
do that.
man.
Charles Bronson. Sometimes people escape from prison, don't they, by smearing themselves with goose fat and squeezing through the bars. Did he do that?
Does he use it on his moustache?
Does he have a moustache?
Well,
I think John Humphrey's great aunt, did you say?
Did she use it against the cold?
Yes, I think she rubbed it like Vicks on her chest.
Yeah.
Didn't
John Humphrey's great aunt is absolutely true. As a child, she used to be smeared as goose fat to keep warm.
yeah. And so Charles Bronson's the odd one out.
Brilliant. Charles Bronson smeared himself with margarine in order to try to escape from prison. he
What,
thought
a
he would...
sandwich?
No, he's like a greased piglet.
Yeah.
Right.
You thought
You know this is the most dangerous man in Britain that you've just called a greased piglet.
that was how Charles Bronson tried to escape from prison. And so he did not use Goose Fat,
yes.
unlike all the others. Well done.
Yeah.
Who was it?
Oh, definitely.
Well done, you. Well done.
We got that whole round.
Do you know what advice experienced cross-channel swimmer Mike Reed had for David Walliams?
Keep swimming.
It's very, very close. My advice to David is keep going forward, keep putting one hand in front of the other until you get to the other side. Top-notch advice there. And why did he do it, according to the Daily Express? He did it for...
Charity.
Yeah. He said he wanted to put as much as he could into Sport Relief's kitty. I think she works in reception. I don't think they'll leave... I think they'll leave that one out. I hope they'll cut that one, because I don't... Do you know what happened to Nigella Lawson's cookbook after she mentioned that she used...
Sales of goose fat throughout the country have doubled.
You can't...
Actually, it's the other way around, isn't it? It's what happened to sales of goose fat.
Yes.
Right, so...
They went
Sales
up.
of Nigella have...
Sales of Nigella... Anyway, never mind all that. Never mind that. I was trying to think of a way of bringing in my book.
What's your book called, Bob?
Well, since you mention it, here it is.
Go have a look at it.
You can have a copy.
No, I didn't want a copy. I just want to have a look. I'm going to look up Princess Di in the index.
Very
That
big
exactly
print,
right.
isn't it?
Yeah.
It's tremendous.
Can I just say, genuinely, I've turned to a page, it said, as soon as I see Bertha's rear end backing
Okay.
down towards me...
Never mind,
As
you
she
must
lifted
listen.
up
I don't
her
want you to
breast.
spoil it. I don't want you to spoil
This
it.
has been
for
my first time in Sicily.
I don't want you. I don't want you to spoil
wasn't
it for
used
the
to the
audience.
local alcohol.
The audience will want to find out about Bertha in their own good time, and I don't think it would be right.
Advancing upon me are the towering bay
I don't
buttocks
think-
of the
I-
biggest horse
so-
I've ever seen.
It's all
In
there.
a daze, I mount the
Right.
stool.
Okay.
I wish I was making this up.
Thank you so much.
Tell
Thank
you
you
what,
very
it
much.
looks a bit classy on the outside,
Thank you.
nothing but
Thank-
rancorous porn inside. Disgusting.
Nigella Lawson recommends roasting potatoes in goose fat. The 6th World Potato Awards took place this year in Idaho. Everyone who attends gets a potato clock. And by 9 o'clock, they're out of the house and on their way to the awards.
What?
What?
Everybody who attends gets a potato clock.
Gets a potato clock.
It's a potato clock. It's a
It's a joke.
potato clock.
One more time.
Shall we try that one again?
the way-
No!
Yeah, try it again. Try it again.
Everyone who attends gets a potato clock.
Better. Better.
And when they've got a potato
Say a
clock,
potato clock.
when they've got a
Yes.
potato clock, they have
Yes.
breakfast. Right, OK, got it. OK, on. It's time now for the Missing Words round, which this week features the publication of the Lobster Institute, the Lobster Bulletin, which aims to enhance lobstering as an industry and a way of life.
I get Crustacean Weekly, which unfortunately is not a
You
newspaper.
get frustrated. How do you cook? You get it with him, you go along
No,
to
the joke's done, boys. Move
done,
on. The
over.
joke's done. Nothing to see here. Move away, sir. Move away. Nothing to see. It's all over. Move away, sir.
Very good. 3 million bees, what?
Pretend to be a policeman. They all get together in the shape of a man.
Hello, hello, hello.
Good evening, sir. I believe you've got honey in the house. Knock on the door. The ones with more confidence do the speaking.
No.
Don't look at your watch in the middle of it.
Get a grip.
It saps the morale to
We're
see you
almost-
looking at
no,
the watch and I'm
we're
trying to
almost
make it up
there.
as I
Well,
go
listen,
along.
I just think if we're so nearly there, if we can just
Yes.
limp over the finishing line.
Great. Can I just say...
I'm talking about...
What an inspirational leader you've been.
And we will be victorious. I'm not
Yes.
saying that...
I think
perhaps
that
they would
should
help-
be the next Tory slogan. Let's just limp over the finishing line.
No, we are going to... I don't care. I want you to know, Ian, I do not care by what means we get over the finishing line, provided we get over it first.
So does that include corruption?
3 million bees
Can't be wrong.
move into a couple's kitchen.
What, did they gazump someone else?
Yeah.
This is the story that millions of bees have had to be removed from a house in America. Next, owls what upsets the neighbours?
Lobster nipple clamps.
Yeah. Clockwork lobster.
Is this the guy who had an enormous tree that looked like a penis?
I've got a penis that looks like a tree. Isn't that amazing?
accelerate this. I think we need to accelerate this.
Before someone does the bonsai joke.
This is a prime 10
Mr.
foot.
Bonsai, we meet again.
This is a proud 10-foot conifer. Alan Parkin has clipped a fir tree into a hum.
Into a what?
Into a hum.
A hum. This is what we classical tapiarists call it. It's called a hum. That is a hum.
That's a knob. It's not like another ball.
It is a hum.
Where's the testicles? In the letterbox?
No. In the ancient world, that was called a hum. It disappeared one night, but then the owner discovered it buried in next door's bush.
Terrible stuff.
It's outrageously rude tonight. And finally, what? Now available for lobsters.
iPods?
iPods.
Haircuts. He's looking to see if it's right. I can't believe it.
Yeah.
Is it?
What
Is
the
it
answer?
peerages?
It is peerages.
Shell suits.
Brilliant. I like it. The answer is apparently a health manual.
That's just
Another
silly.
gripping one.
Rule
isn't it?
number
Oh,
one.
okay.
If you find the water you're in getting hotter...
So the final scores are, Ian and Emily, you are the richly deserving winners on 10 points. Paul and Sue, you have 7.
Hey.
Well done.
On which note, we say thank you to our panellists, Ian Hislop and Emily Maitlis, Sue Perkins and Paul Merton, and I leave you with news that in central London, a practical joker makes good his escape before the extra strong laxative kicks in. At the annual Magicians' Conference, it's 1-0 to the rabbit. And there's humiliation for one youngster as he's forced to put on the socks his aunt gave him for Christmas. Good night.
I'm going dogging later if you fancy it.
Pardon?
Dogging with the gang.
I don't think you mean dogging.
Yes. You know, when we take all the dogs down to the river and let them swim.
Jam and Jerusalem, next here on BBC One.
And have I got news for you? You'll be back on BBC One Wales in the spring, battling it out to win points for punditry on the burning news stories of the week. Fighting Talk on 5/5 at 7.
Okay, wait, before you go, since it's Christmas, I want to offer you everybody a Christmas cracker. Christmas cracker? Here you go.
You won.
Did you win? Oh, thank you.
What did a beaver say to the tree?
I can get this one. Ignore.
No.
Me,
Did
no,
you hear that
no.
Prince Philip had Princess Diana killed? 10 years ago.
Oh, I see. The crackers come from Harrods, do they?
Tonight at 10, the very latest developments.